I would like to know what is the best story to you about Poirot?
I don't know, that's a tall order.
I know it was difficult to you.
In December 1926, one of the most famous writers in the world disappeared. There was no crime scene, no witnesses, no clear explanation. Agatha Christie, the woman who built her career on logic and solved mysteries, vanished from her own life for 11 days. Her car was found abandoned. Her name filled newspapers across Britain. Thousands searched for her, and still nothing made sense. This is not a story about fear or danger. It is a quiet mystery about silence, choice, and a woman who never explained what happened. There is no final answer waiting at the end. Only facts, only time, only questions that remain open. Agatha Mary Clarissa Christie was born on September 15, 1920, in the seaside town of Torquay, Devon, on the southern coast of England. She grew up in a comfortable middle-class household, raised primarily by her mother, Clara Miller, who encouraged imagination, reading, and independence. Agatha was educated mostly at home and developed an early fascination with stories, puzzles, and structure, elements that would later define her literary career. Unlike many writers of her time, Agatha Christie did not enter literature through academia. Her path was quiet and personal. During the First World War, she worked as a nurse and later as a dispenser in a hospital pharmacy. There, she gained detailed knowledge of poisons, information that would later appear frequently in her novels. In 1920, she published her first detective novel, The Mysterious Affair at Styles, introducing the Belgian detective Hercule Poirot. The book was well received, and her career slowly gained momentum. By the mid-1920s, Agatha Christie was no longer an unknown author. Her novels were selling steadily, and in 1926, she achieved major literary success with The Murder of Roger Ackroyd, a book that generated both praise and controversy for its unconventional structure. Critics debated it, readers discussed it, and Christie's name became firmly established in British literary circles. Yet while her professional life appeared stable, her personal life was quietly unraveling. In 1914, Agatha married Archibald Christie, a pilot in the Royal Flying Corps. Their marriage initially appeared conventional and successful. In 1919, they had a daughter, Rosalind Christie, and settled into family life. However, by the early 1920s, the relationship had become strained. Archibald Christie grew distant, increasingly focused on his career and social life. Eventually, he began an affair with another woman, Nancy Neal, a fact that would later become publicly known. In 1926, Archibald informed Agatha that he wanted a divorce. For a woman raised in a socially conservative environment, the announcement was deeply destabilizing. Divorce carried stigma, uncertainty, and emotional weight, especially for a mother responsible for a young child. That same year, Agatha experienced another profound loss. In April 1926, her mother, Clara Miller, died after a period of illness. Agatha had been extremely close to her mother, and the death left her emotionally exhausted. She was forced to manage her mother's estate and the family home in Torquay while continuing her professional obligations. By the autumn of 1926, Agatha Christie was under immense pressure. She was grieving the loss of her mother. She was facing the collapse of her marriage. She was raising a 7-year-old daughter, and she was expected to continue producing successful novels. Despite this, there were no public signs of crisis. She continued to write, attend social engagements, and maintain her routine. Friends later recalled her as quiet and reserved, but not visibly unstable. There were no dramatic confrontations, no recorded breakdowns, no warnings that something extraordinary was about to occur. Life appeared to move forward. But beneath that calm exterior, personal strain and emotional exhaustion were accumulating. The woman who built her reputation on solving fictional mysteries was approaching a moment in her own life that would become one of the most puzzling disappearances of the 20th century. As December 1926 approached, no one, not her family, not her readers, not the authorities, had any reason to believe that Agatha Christie was about to vanish without explanation. On the evening of Friday, December 3rd, 1926, Agatha Christie was at her home in Sunningdale, Berkshire. The house, known as Styles, was quiet. Her daughter, Rosalind, 7 years old at the time, was staying with relatives. Her husband, Archibald Christie, had left earlier that day to spend the weekend with Nancy Neal, the woman he intended to marry after his divorce. Shortly after 9:30 p.m., Agatha Christie left the house alone. She took her car, a Morris Cowley, and drove away into the darkness. Before leaving, she wrote several letters. One was addressed to her husband. Another was sent to her sister, Madge Watts, who lived nearby. The exact contents of these letters were never fully made public, but they made one thing clear. Agatha Christie was leaving, and she did not say when or if she would return. That night, she did not come home. The following morning, on December 4th, her car was discovered abandoned near Newlands Corner, a chalk hill in Surrey, overlooking a steep quarry. The vehicle appeared to have been deliberately parked. Inside the car were Agatha's coat, some personal belongings, and her driver's license. There were no clear signs of an accident, no visible blood, and no indication of a struggle. Nearby, the ground showed marks suggesting the car had briefly struck an embankment. At first glance, it raised the possibility of an accident, but there was no body, no footprints leading away, no trail that explained where the driver had gone. By midday, the situation had escalated. Local police were notified, and soon the case reached Scotland Yard. The disappearance of a well-known author quickly became national news. Newspapers across Britain reported that Agatha Christie, the famous detective novelist, had vanished without explanation. Search efforts began almost immediately. Police officers, volunteers, and local residents combed the surrounding countryside. Dogs were brought in to track her scent. The nearby woods, ponds, and paths were searched repeatedly. Airplanes were even used to survey the area from above, an unusual measure at the time. Nothing was found. As hours turned into days, speculation grew. Some believed she had suffered a nervous breakdown. Others suspected suicide, noting the location of the car near the quarry. A few suggested foul play, but there was no evidence to support any single theory. What made the situation more unsettling was the silence. Agatha Christie had left behind a famous career, a child, and a public life. Yet she had disappeared as if she had chosen to step out of the world entirely. There were no confirmed sightings, no messages, no explanations. By the end of the first weekend, Britain was transfixed. A writer who had built her reputation on solving mysteries had created one of her own. And with each passing hour, the absence of answers deepened the sense that this was not an ordinary disappearance. It was something quieter, more deliberate, and far more difficult to understand. By December 5, 1926, Agatha Christie's disappearance had become a national event. What began as a local concern in Berkshire and Surrey quickly spread across the United Kingdom. Newspapers published daily updates, often on their front pages. Headlines asked the same question again and again: where was Agatha Christie? The police response intensified. Scotland Yard took direct control of the investigation, treating the case as a matter of national importance. Hundreds of police officers were involved. More than 1,000 volunteers joined the search, combing fields, forests, and country lanes around Newlands Corner and the surrounding countryside. Local ponds, wells, and abandoned buildings were examined repeatedly. Tracking dogs were brought in to follow Agatha Christie's scent from her abandoned Morris Cowley. The dogs led investigators to the edge of the quarry and then stopped. There was no further trace, no sign that she had fallen, no evidence that she had climbed back out. The trail simply ended. For many observers, this detail was deeply unsettling. The possibility of suicide was openly discussed in the press. The location of the car near a steep drop seemed to support that theory. Yet no body was found, despite extensive searches. Days passed, then a full week, and still nothing emerged. As public interest grew, prominent figures became involved. One of them was Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, the creator of Sherlock Holmes. Troubled by the lack of progress, he reportedly consulted a spiritual medium and provided the medium with one of Agatha Christie's gloves, hoping for insight into her fate. The gesture reflected both the desperation of the moment and the era's lingering belief in spiritual explanations when rational ones failed. Another well-known writer, Dorothy L. Sayers, joined the search personally. She walked the area around the quarry, examining the ground and offering her own observations. Even experienced creators of fictional detectives were unable to make sense of the real mystery unfolding before them. Inside the Christie family, tension grew. Archibald Christie, his husband, was questioned multiple times by police. His affair with Nancy Neely was now public knowledge, widely reported by newspapers. Although there was no direct evidence linking him to his wife's disappearance, public suspicion followed him closely. The combination of marital conflict and sudden disappearance fueled speculation that refused to fade. Meanwhile, Agatha Christie herself remained completely silent. There were no confirmed sightings, no letters, no phone calls, no witnesses who could reliably claim they had seen her alive after the night of December 3rd. Each day without information made the situation more disturbing. The absence felt intentional, as though she had stepped away from the world by choice. By the second week, the case had reached an unusual state. There was massive attention. There were thousands of people searching. There were endless theories, and yet there were no answers. The disappearance of Agatha Christie was no longer just a missing person investigation. It had become a shared national anxiety, a mystery unfolding in real time, without clues, without direction, and without any indication of how or when it might end. And then, unexpectedly, everything changed. Not with a discovery in the countryside, but with a quiet realization far from the search area itself. As the days passed without any sign of Agatha Christie, theories began to form. Not dramatic conspiracies, but measured attempts to understand what could cause a well-known writer, mother, and public figure to disappear without a trace. The first and widely discussed explanation was temporary amnesia. Doctors and journalists of the time suggested that Agatha Christie may have suffered from what was then called psychogenic amnesia. Emotional shock, Grief and extreme stress were believed to sometimes cause a person to lose their sense of identity and wander away from their normal life. In 1926, this was a commonly accepted medical idea, though poorly understood. Christie had recently lost her mother, faced a painful divorce, and carried the pressure of public expectations. Supporters of this theory believed she may have left without fully understanding who she was or where she was going. Yet the theory raised questions. Amnesia might explain confusion, but it did not explain the careful abandonment of the car, the letters she left behind, or the complete lack of accidental sightings. For some observers, her actions appeared too deliberate to be entirely unconscious. Another theory focused on emotional exhaustion. By late 1926, Agatha Christie was under significant strain. Her marriage to Archibald Christie was collapsing. Her mother had died earlier that year, and she was responsible for raising her daughter while maintaining a demanding writing career. Some believed her disappearance was not a medical episode, but a conscious retreat, a moment when the weight of life became too heavy and withdrawal felt like the only option. A third theory, often mentioned in newspapers but treated cautiously by authorities, was a calculated disappearance. According to this view, Agatha Christie may have chosen to vanish intentionally as a response to her husband's betrayal. Archibald Christie planned to marry Nancy Neal, whose surname would later attract attention. Christie's disappearance, under this interpretation, was not meant to cause permanent harm, but to force attention, embarrassment, or emotional consequence. However, there was no direct evidence to support this. No statement from Agatha Christie ever confirmed such an intention, and those close to her described her as reserved, not vindictive. There was also speculation of foul play, though it remained largely unsupported. Police investigated this possibility carefully, questioning Archibald Christie and examining his movements. No physical evidence suggested violence, and no witnesses came forward. Over time, this theory lost credibility. What united all explanations was their uncertainty. Each theory explained part of the story, but none explained everything. The letters, the silence, the complete disappearance. Agatha Christie herself offered no clarification. After her return, she never publicly explained what had happened. She avoided the topic in interviews and did not include it in her autobiography. This absence of explanation ensured that no single theory could ever be confirmed or dismissed entirely. The mystery remained not because of missing information, but because the one person who could explain it chose not to speak. And as the country continued to speculate, events were already unfolding elsewhere. Far from the search teams, far from the quarry, far from the noise of newspapers, in a place where no one was looking. On December 14th, 1926, 11 days after Agatha Christie vanished, the mystery took an unexpected turn. She was found alive. Agatha Christie was staying at the Swan Hydropathic Hotel in Harrogate, a spa town in North Yorkshire, more than 200 miles from where her car had been discovered. She had checked into the hotel several days earlier under the name Mrs. Teresa Neely, the same surname as Nancy Neely, the woman with whom her husband planned to build a new life. The discovery was quiet, almost anticlimactic. Hotel staff later reported that Agatha appeared calm, well-dressed, and in good physical condition. She participated in social activities, attended evening dances, and read newspapers. Nothing about her behavior suggested distress or confusion. To those around her, she seemed like an ordinary guest enjoying a winter holiday. Her identity was confirmed after Archibald Christie traveled to Harrogate and recognized her. The public reaction was immediate and intense. Newspapers that had spent days speculating about tragedy now shifted their tone. Questions replaced fear. Why had she traveled so far? Why had she chosen that particular name? And why had she remained silent while the country searched for her? Agatha Christie offered no clear answers. According to official statements released at the time, she claimed to have no memory of the events following her departure from Sunningdale. Doctors supported the explanation of temporary amnesia caused by emotional shock and exhaustion. The police accepted this account, and the case was formally closed without further investigation. Privately, however, doubts remained. Many observers found it difficult to reconcile the idea of total memory loss with the practical details of her journey. She had booked train tickets, arrived at the hotel, paid for her stay, and interacted normally with others. These actions appeared structured, deliberate, and organized. Agatha Christie never publicly challenged the official explanation. She returned to her home, reunited with her daughter Rosalind, and gradually resumed her writing career. In 1928, she finalized her divorce from Archibald Christie. The episode was never discussed openly again. In interviews, she avoided the subject. In her autobiography, she made no direct reference to the disappearance. Silence became her final word. In the years that followed, Agatha Christie went on to become one of the most successful writers in history. She remarried, traveled widely, and published dozens of novels. The disappearance of 1926 faded from headlines, but it never disappeared from public memory. Because the return answered nothing. It confirmed that she was alive. It confirmed that she had chosen not to speak, and it left behind a deeper mystery, not about where she went, but about why she decided that some questions did not need answers. The disappearance of Agatha Christie did not end when she returned to Harrogate. In many ways, that moment marked the beginning of a different kind of mystery, one that has endured for nearly a century. Most missing person cases resolve through evidence, confession, or time. This one resolved through silence. Agatha Christie lived for almost 50 more years after 1926. She continued writing, publishing, and traveling. She married again in 1930, this time to archaeologist Max Mallowan, and by most accounts lived a stable and productive life. Yet, despite countless interviews, biographies, and public appearances, she never offered a clear explanation of those 11 days. She did not deny the official account. She did not confirm it. She simply refused to discuss it. In her autobiography, published in 1977, Agatha Christie wrote openly about her childhood, her marriages, and her career, but she avoided the disappearance almost entirely. There was no chapter dedicated to it, no reflection, no clarification. The absence was deliberate. Historians and biographers have debated this silence ever since.
Some believe she accepted the medical explanation of temporary amnesia and saw no reason to revisit a painful episode. Others suggest that the truth was more complex, perhaps too personal, too humiliating, or too emotionally charged to be shared publicly. There are also those who argue that the mystery itself became part of her legacy, and that explaining it would have diminished its power. What is certain is that Agatha Christie understood stories.
This is not acting. This is not performance. This is a calm voice recording facts while the listener slowly drifts to sleep. She understood how unanswered questions linger longer than resolved ones. She knew that ambiguity invites reflection, while certainty closes the door. In her novels, mysteries always ended with clarity. In her own life, she chose the opposite. The public has often tried to impose meaning on her disappearance. Some see it as a response to betrayal, others as a psychological collapse, still others as a quiet act of self-preservation. Each interpretation says as much about the observer as it does about Agatha Christie herself. Perhaps that is why the story remains compelling. It is not violent. It is not sensational. It does not end in tragedy. It ends in uncertainty. And uncertainty is unusually powerful. The disappearance of Agatha Christie survives not because it lacks facts, but because it resists conclusions. The letters, the car, the hotel, the name she chose, all are real, all are documented, and yet, when placed together, they refuse to form a single clear narrative. In the end, the mystery may not be about where Agatha Christie went. It may be about her decision to keep part of her life private in a world that demanded explanations. She returned, she lived, she wrote, and she left one story unresolved. Perhaps that was intentional, because some mysteries are not meant to be solved, only remembered, quietly, as the mind drifts toward rest.